This is Dollar Jr. on behalf of Plasma SKX, and I will be attempting to do a 100% walkthrough of Elden Ring. This is a game I've been wanting to get to for quite a long time, but I hadn't had a chance to get to it, but I have been playing it for quite a while now, and I gotta say, this is one of my favorite games of all time. It's not even close. And a quick disclaimer to get right out of the way. There is no wrong way to play Elden Ring. You can play it any way you want. You can go wherever you want. You can do whatever you want. Don't let anybody tell you that you're playing it the wrong way. Don't level up vigor. Don't do this. No, do whatever you want. I'm going to do it a specific way that I like, but you can do whatever you want. But this is a pretty good walkthrough, I think, of how to get pretty overpowered early on, so you won't struggle with the game at all, really, because there are so many ways to break this game, it's not even funny. I could actually take it even further if I wanted to, but I just want to be able to wield all of my weapons early, but that means I have to go deep into the game, and when I mean deep, I mean to the end game, pretty much. But I'm not going to do anything, really, except get the weaponry that I want, and then I'm going to return to the beginning. I went back and forth on how I was going to do this walkthrough for quite a while, so I had Plasma conduct a few polls for me, and it seems like you guys just want the chains off. We can go wherever we want. We can do whatever we need to do to get our weaponry, so that's what we're going to do. I have practiced it both ways, where I would stay region locked and only use the weapons and things that were in that region, but because I'm unshackled, so to speak, we're really going to break the hell out of this game, guys. So let's get to it. The first major decision you're going to make is what kind of class and what kind of gift you're going to take. Highly debatable, but I believe that the cracked pots are the way to go. I'm picking the samurai class because I'm going Indiana Jones build again, just like my Dark Souls series. And I'm going cracked pot. And I'll tell you guys why the cracked pot is so awesome. And I have a preloaded Indiana Jones look-alike. I tried to make it as best as I could. I used a Reddit post for Harrison Ford. It's pretty close. But the cracked pot guys are so good. So good early on, too. You can absolutely trivialize bosses with the cracked pots. So starting with 3 extra ones, to me, is the best bet. But again, you can do whatever you need. But I do believe, once you guys see what I can do with these cracked pots, you're going to think, maybe I should do this more often. We're going to just strip right away because we are not interested in any of this. And if you do like the samurai outfit, you can always buy it from a merchant in Caelid, which we are going to go to relatively early. So our first goal is to just get powered up enough in order to be able to survive the in-game bosses, a couple of them, so that we can get certain weaponry and certain smithing stones that's going to make this game so much easier for us to play through. Don't worry about fighting the grafted scion. It really doesn't matter if you kill him or not. You're going to come back here anyway later on. I'm just going to suggest you just walk off the cliff, which is what I'm going to do here. It's just not worth your time. When you come to, you'll be in the stranded graveyard. Now, if you turn around straight away after your spawn here, you'll see a shiny up there. You can't get it just yet, but we will come and get that later. Now we're going to go do the tutorial because we're going to get like 600 runes for doing it, and that will help us buy a few things from our first merchant straight away. Here is our first grace via the bonfires, pretty much. There are a lot of these throughout the world, an excessive amount actually. Now we're going to divvy up our flasks, and I like to be balanced, so we're going to go 2 and 2 for now. 2 of our crimson and 2 of the Carillion. But later on, we'll be able to self-regenerate both attributes. But it will take some work to get there. Now this tutorial area is very linear, and the enemies are pretty much cannon fodder at this point. You can just run around and slash them. They're not going to pose any threat whatsoever. Even the ones with the shields are meant to teach you combat mechanics, so they're not even going to be programmed to attack you. Now, crafting is big in this game, and roa fruit is something you'll use in a lot of recipes, and I will go over that extensively because we're going to be crafting quite a bit of stuff. Now, let's talk about unsheath, the default skill for your katana. one of the best, in my opinion, the game completely. It causes a great amount of poise damage, and it will leave your enemy open for a riposte. However, when you do use the skill Unsheath, or any skill for that matter, it will take focus points. I got clipped there, unfortunately. And focus points are not easy to regenerate. However, there is a way to do it even early game, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So whenever you need a certain amount of regenerated, either whether it be health or focus points, you'll be able to do that, because we're going to be able to do both. So my build is going to be mainly focused on strength and dex, but I am going to mix in some faith, because I need to use certain weapons and they require faith, and also arcane will have to be leveled up to an extent, and some intelligence, but mainly dex and strength. We're coming up to our first boss, quote unquote, the Godric soldier, and he is not a boss, guys. He's not. We're going to unsheath him one time and then riposte him, and it's game over. There's really nothing much to say. And that's it. Hell of a boss fight, guys. And now we're going to get our first gesture of the game, which of course is missable if you don't do the tutorial. So we did the tutorial, and here is our gesture, the strength gesture. Now our next goal is to get our mount, Torrent. And of course we're going to buy some things from the merchant, and we're going to beat our first cave, the Groveside cave. One of our long-term goals is to collect cracked pots. Now, before we start doing any major heavy lifting, we're going to get about 13 cracked pots. Because we started with the cracked pot, we're going to start off with a nice little boost of 3 cracked pots. But because we picked the cracked pot as our starting gift, we're going to be taking away certain inventory from some of the merchants. Some of the merchants in the world will sell cracked pots, but some of them will not now, because we took the cracked pot as our gift. So if you go to a merchant and you see a cracked pot in his inventory, but you can't buy it, then that's the reason why. Welcome to Limgrave. Whatever you do, do not attack this guy, because if you do, you will die a horrible death many a times, and there won't be really a way out of it at this point in the game. But his quest line is very, very beneficial, and it's not hard to do early on, and it will give you access to one of the biggest rune farms in the game, probably the biggest rune farm in the game. But we're not going to do it to increase levels, but later on I will do it to get smithing stones, so I can just purchase them and upgrade all my weapons very quickly. But I'm not going to use it to get an advantage on my levels. But if you guys want to do it, knock yourself out. I wouldn't blame you. Do not attack the tree sentinel either. The golden knight just patrolling about, he will murder you in many ways as well. Is it possible to kill? Sure. And these skulls here, they're easier to see at night, but they'll give you 200 runes once you walk over them with torrent or you roll over them. The Church of Elleh. Now, we have our Santa Claus merchant here, Kali. He is important to us. Do not attack him whatsoever. And there's a smithing stone right here. This is our first that we need to get out of 12. Well, we want to go ahead and sell our runes that we have here, and we're going to sell the samurai outfit. We don't need it. Like I said, if you want this, if you like it, there'll be a way to buy it later. The first thing I buy is the crafting kit and the torch. Buy the torch first, and then the crafting kit, and then I buy the cracked pots. And you'll want to get the Nomadic Warriors Cookbook 1, and you'll eventually want to get all of the cookbooks, but for now, we only have enough money to buy that. And that's okay. Now we're going to make our way to our first cave, the Groveside cave. Now remember, as you're going through the world, pick up every flower you see. It will be used in some capacity at some point. And roa fruit is the most abundant in this land, no doubt. But there are other creatures you can kill, like the turtle, although my wife would kill me if I killed the turtles. so I don't kill the turtles. I just buy their meat later if I need to. You'll see this guy just crouched over. You can backstab him, and he's guarding some kukri. Kukris are very good items that will cause bleed buildup, and bleed in this game is king. It's better than any Souls game ever did it, and it's quite overpowered at times. Another thing you can pick up is some root resin. Root resin, mushrooms are very important. Those two items, very important to pick up. You see a mushroom in the land, pick it up. We're going to be using them for all of our cracked pots. And there's an easy farm to do later on. We'll do it pretty early, where we can get quite a few mushrooms pretty quickly. Welcome to Groveside Cave. This is your introduction to caves. There are caves, catacombs, hero dungeons in this game, but here is your first cave. Now, this cave in particular has wolves, and more specifically, an alpha wolf who is quite tanky and quite the pain in the ass, and he's right here. We want to take him out first and his friends later. There's a couple out there in the dark you can't see, but with the lock-on feature, we'll be able to get them from here. But let's take care of this guy first. Use the mighty shot for your bow here and take him out with fire arrows. It'll only take 2 of them. And we'll just use regular arrows to mop up the crowd here. There's one wolf below us. We'll get him as well. He's guarding the cracked pot. Using this strategy, you will not take a single scratch from these wolves. You'll also pick up cave moss, which is used for medical crafting items. There's one more wolf here, and that'll be it for this opening section. There's one more wolf in this cave, but he won't be until we loot this initial area. But here's your next cracked pot. We should have a total of 7 cracked pots already, which is huge. And you guys will see how huge in just a bit. Now the torch can be used to light up areas, but also it can be used as a weapon. And you'll see there are certain torches in the games that have different abilities, and we'll be using all of them. Here are silver fireflies. We'll use this to craft an item that will increase our item discovery, but we're not really interested in that right now. We are going to have to farm for a few items, mainly my Indiana Jones outfit, pants, and a specific whip, but it isn't for a long time. Kill this wolf and get your bow out. Just right off the bat, get mighty shot and just pelt this guy non-stop. He'll be 1 hit from death by the time he gets to you. You could use unsheath over and over and dodge his attacks, but why? It just doesn't make sense. Just back up and just hit him one more time, and it's over. You'll get the Flame Drake Talisman. Increases your fire defense. And that's it for this cave. There's nothing else to do. Let's go back to the beginning of the cave. Now, anytime you complete a cave, a catacomb, or any kind of dungeon, the game will give you this teleporter to transport you back to the beginning of the area. I don't recommend using this, though, because you don't get your health or your magic flasks renewed, so why? That's why we went ahead and used the fast travel. Mushrooms again, and root resin. Now, root resin, I didn't talk about it extensively, but root resin is used for certain weapon buffs, like the flame weapon buff, the fire grease, which we will be able to craft shortly. The more of this you have, the more you can craft. Now we're going to the gatefront ruins. We're going to clear out the area a little bit, but we're not going to fight the big dude. It's this patrolling with the spear. He's a right pain in the ass. We're not going to deal with him. Right here, we're just going to snipe this guy. Again, use mighty shot. 2 shots. He won't even know what hit him. Same guy here. Now, I don't recommend going here and just fighting them because they're right across from each other. One will see the other attacked, and they'll gang up on you. That's the best way to do that. We can sneak up behind this guy, though. Backstab him. Now, by killing these guys, you'll have a chance to get the brass shield, We're not going to use it in our build. However, it's one of the best shields in the game, if not the best shield in the game. It's been voted as the best shield, actually. But it's a random drop from these guys. Now, before going into the camp, let's wait for this guy patrolling to pass the map fragment that's right in front of us. We do want the map fragment, but we don't want to alert all the sentries to our presence. It will be a headache for us. We don't want 20 enemies coming at us at once, so we're just going to get behind this guy and backstab him. Trust me, it's for the best. That horn of his is his lethal weapon. It will alert everybody. Now, we're going to get this guy, and we want to make sure we start collecting these flaming butterflies, because this is what is used in one of our cracked pot recipes. The fire pots are going to need these. There's a much better farm later on, which we're going to get to in this video. But just whenever you see them, make sure you pick them up. Just in general, pick up everything you see. Now right here, we want to jump up on this thing. Right here, if you angle yourself just like this, you'll be able to get on top of it. And from here, we can snipe all the wolves in the area, and they won't be a problem for us. Again, just one mighty shot will take them out. And these guys can't reach us. So we can snipe them as well, if we would like. But I think I just go down here and just attack them. Yeah. Once the dogs are done, the wolves are dealt with, it's not really much to worry about down here. The horn guy and the dogs are the biggest. Now this is the guy. You don't want to fight this guy right now. Well, it's going to go down here and get our whetstone knife, which will allow us to put Ashes of War on our weapons. This is definitely something you want to get. And there are various knives throughout the game that will allow you to do certain affinities, but this one in particular we'll just do basic stuff. And we'll have the Storm Stomp, which we're going to use that in one of our on one of our weapons. It's useful for getting the invisible scarabs, but we'll talk about that later. And it can be used to stun certain enemies. I'm just going to grab this butterfly real quick, and then we're going to go ahead and get our mount, Torrent. And once we get Torrent, we'll go around collecting various items throughout the world to make our job much easier. You could do a double jump as well with Torrent, but you can still die from fall damage. Now in here you'll get a sword. We're not going to use it, but like I said, I'm going to try to get everything in this game. And this is one sword that a lot of people like to use early on. There's also another weapon in this camp, the flail, but we're not going to pick it up just yet, but we'll get it. Not going to be used for our build. We want to light the grace. We're not going to go through any dialogue or anything. We're just going to skip through everything. But we do have to agree to her accord.
Have you heard? They serve, but you, I can click turning to aid you. You need to the foot. Then it said, summon me. I bequeath.
She'll give you the ring to summon Torrent.
It will summon Torrent. Treat him.
Now, important thing to do is learn how to do the pouch. We're going to do it right now. We're going to take away this thing right here because it takes away our runes. We don't want that. We're going to put Torrent on our first pouch slot here. You can do whatever you want, but I've already made arrangements for all these slots here. I already know what I'm going to use for them. And the first one is the Torrent. The Torrent Summon Ring. Now, before we do anything else, we want to fast travel back to the Church of Elleh, especially when it's night, because we want to talk to this witch right here, and she will give you a spirit summon. The spirit calling bell. Some people call this easy mode, and I would have to agree. It really does break the game in some ways. But now that we have some more runes, we're going to go ahead and spend some more money. But I'm going to go ahead and put my spirit summon on the bottom, down on the D-pad there. I'm going to go talk to our buddy Santa Claus merchant here, Kali. And we're going to buy the rest of the cookbooks and the telescope. Now this missionary cookbook is vital for us for killing certain bosses. It's going to be very easy to kill certain bosses by crafting holy pots. And we're going to get the meat recipes as well. I don't really use those, but this is an attempt at a 100% walkthrough. So I'm going to try to get as much as I can. And of course the telescope. One of the most useful tools that Elden Ring gives you is the map. But you can use markers. And I'm going to show you here, I've marked various points throughout the map. These are points of interest that we're going to go to. And like I used the skull for a certain boss or an enemy or an invasion. I use like a chest for loot. But you can use whatever you want. But I think these make the most sense. And like the plant is like a farming area. By using these markers and then putting a waypoint on the marker, you'll go directly to what you're trying to do and waste little time getting there. Now we want to make sure we make it morning because we don't want certain enemies to bother us right now at night. We don't have a lot of weaponry, and especially the bats. They're very annoying and very deadly, and you'll see that later on as we will encounter our first death due to a bat swarm that came out of absolutely nowhere. But that's one of the lessons that we're going to talk about. Now, before leaving the gatefront ruins, we're going to go ahead and collect the flail. Even though we're not going to use it for our build, it's right here. And horseback combat is a little clunky at times, but it can be very useful in certain situations and certain boss fights. We're going to be killing the fire giant on top of the mountaintops of the giants using this method with torrent. It's much easier, in my opinion, to go horseback on certain bosses, especially that one. But here's your flail. Now let's get used to using one of our utility tools here, the telescope. It's nice to do some recon with this thing. You can kind of look around. It's just like having the bow out, I guess, zooming in. But you can see the Grace right in front of us. And we'll be going there shortly. But behind us, we're going to be going up there to that cliff. That is Stormhill. That is another area of Limgrave we'll be exploring. But right here, this Grace right here, this is where we'll be farming for our Caden trousers, which is going to be our pants for our Indiana Jones outfit. And it's not the greatest drop rate. I mean, it drops, but there's been times where I've farmed it for hours and didn't get it. But there's the guys that carry it. They're on horseback, and there's some in the camp over there to the east. However, I'm not going to farm for it quite yet because I don't quite have everything I want for the farm to make it as painless as possible. But we are going to make our way to the camp right now because there's a cookbook in there that will allow us to craft fire grease, and that's what we want. You don't have to fight these guys. You can just come up here and drop down and grab it and get out. But we will be farming this area for the Caden trousers later. All of those enemies have a chance to drop it. We're going to come up here and get this golden rune, guarded by all these wolves. We're just going to make our way up here, up this cliff. And there's a smithing stone up here. We're collecting smithing stones to get our katana to +3. We need 12 of them. But by the end of this episode, we'll have enough to get our katana to +3, and then we'll have some left over as well. But somber smithing stones is going to be crucial as well. We're going to actually have more somber smithing stone woes than regular smithing stone woes. You want to use the spring to jump up here, and you want to coax a giant into breaking this statue over here, because this statue has 5 smithing stone 1s and a smithing stone 2. So very important to get this giant, or any of these giants, to just come up here and break this statue for us. Just lure them, they'll run into it. But you don't want to linger around here too long because they have an attack that's a ranged attack that will just knock you off your horse or cause damage to you. And there it is. Now we're making our way to the War Master's shack. And we're about to fight a field boss for the first time. We don't have enough runes right now to buy what we want from our NPC friend here. But after this boss fight, we will have more than enough to get what we need. And we're only interested in 2 Ashes of War right now. We want the no skill and the quick step. That's all we want. But right now we're just going to exhaust his dialogue. Hit the talk option here. Now we're going to leave. Now these enemies that spawn in certain areas are called ball-bearing hunters. Now they don't really spawn that easily. You have to turn it into night first, but they won't spawn right away. As you can see, he's not there yet, so we have to go talk to our friend again. Even if we have nothing to say, we're just going to leave and we're going to sit at the Grace one more time, and then he'll show up. Now these guys aren't that bad, guys, even the hard ones. Hit him 6 times for this one with the katana two-handed and stay as close to him as possible. These guys have very telegraphed attacks and they're not hard to remember. But you do want to make sure you only hit him once unless he does a shield bash like that. Then you do your unsheath skill and then riposte once he's staggered. But trust me, these guys are simple. I can beat even the hardest ones with a unupgraded weapon because their moveset is so easy to remember. Just do not get distance from him because then he'll have a much deadlier attack that is much harder to avoid. Only one hit unless he does his shield smash, but you got to be careful when he does the shield smash because sometimes he'll do an AoE followed right after it. But as you can see, we didn't take a scratch. And we're going to unlock the ability to buy bones now. And we'll get a fair chunk of runes for that fight. The Bone Peddler's Ball Bearing. We'll give this to a certain NPC in the round table hold, but we're not there yet. Now with the Ball Bearing Hunter gone, we can talk to our friend again, and now we're going to buy some stuff. Buy the No Skill Ash of War, and buy the Quick Step. If you're following my guide, of course, or my particular build. We're going to need these 2 things. Now we're going to go get a talisman that is missable. You can miss this talisman if you go too far into the game. Like if you go to, let's say, Volcano Manor and you join Volcano Manor, this will be unavailable to you. So we're going to get some of the missable stuff out of the way right now because we do intend to go to Volcano Manor pretty early in this playthrough. So we want to get everything that's missable before doing so. And this is a NPC invasion. The guy is simple to kill, but he does hit me right off the bat. He does have some lava AoE type thing which you can get caught in, but trust me guys, Unsheath will carry you through this fight. It's very simple. We're just going to run up here and just see, I got a little anxious from the beginning. I tried to hit him too quickly when he spawned in and it left me open. So yeah, I just mistimed it here. He nearly kills me, but I'm not even going to heal because I know he can't kill me after this. You'll just do an unsheath and roll back and just rinse and repeat. It's really that simple. But yeah, this talisman is missable and you just want to go ahead and get out the way. The Hammer Talisman. We're just going to do a quick run through Limgrave here, getting certain items. Now right here, we're going to go to a farming spot for flaming butterflies. This is what I think is the best farming spot in the entire game for flying or flaming butterflies. There could be another one that's better, but this is just too convenient. There's 8 of them in this one area, plus the enemies can drop them as well. So you could possibly get a total of 10 in this one section. So just get all of the flaming butterflies here. The smoldering butterflies, they're called. And also, when you kill these flaming slugs, they have a chance to drop a strip of white flesh. because they don't have any blood. But we didn't get anything there. Now, we're going to come up here and get a scarab that has a somber smithing stone 1. And more importantly, we're going to get our first buff of the game that we need to get. You want to just sneak up on this guy. If you approach from the ball side, he won't see you. There are more clever ones later on, but this one, not so clever. Unsheath will take him out immediately, and you'll get the somber smithing stone 1. Now, this knight that's on horseback, he has a buff that we want. A very good buff. It's very much worth getting early on as well. So, the easiest way to kill these guys that are on horseback is to attack the horse. Don't attack the soldier that's on the horse. You always want to attack the horse first, because once they have no horse, they are vulnerable on their back to a riposte. So always attack the horse first. Kill the horse, and when they're on the ground, they're pretty much helpless, and you get a free kill. And we'll get the Golden Vow Ash of War, extremely useful. And we're going to use it pretty much straight away once we have certain armaments to use it. Now we're going to go make our way into a catacomb. The first catacomb of the area right here. But we can't drop down to it from this height. We have to go down just a little bit to drop down safely. I'm not even sure if soft cotton would help here, which is a consumable you can craft to negate fall damage, but it's not really that useful in my opinion. But right here, you just want to drop down. You don't want to drop all the way down yet. Like I said, you might die. Birds are important to kill because we are going to have to kill them to get a foul foot, which will be used for our golden and silver pickled foul foots consumables. Now right here, we're just going to run all the way through this catacombs. All that's in here are skeletons. Now, we're not even going to fight the skeletons. They're not worth our time. We want the gravewort. There are these flowers in the catacombs called graveworts, and they are used to level up your spirit ashes. There's only the gravewort 1 available in this one, but we are going to get others very shortly as well. But we're also going to get an extra katana in this catacombs, and we're going to get a talisman that's pretty useful at the end of this boss fight here. But right now, we're just going to run through the catacombs. This is a very short catacomb dungeon. There's not much to do here. Just grab all the graveworts you need to get. But you want to come under the stairs here. There's an entrance here. This leads to the secret area which has the katana, the extra katana. If you didn't start out as a samurai and you wanted the Uchi katana, then this is the only place to get it. But now we have 2 of them, so we could dual wield them if we want. Now we're looking for the lever to open up the boss fight. There's also some blood roses in here. You'll want to get those as well. Those are going to be very important later on. Extremely important. One of the most important flowers we're going to get. The blood rose. Now we're just going to make our way to the beginning, and we're just going to go to the boss fight. The boss fight is trivial. He's easy. He doesn't even have full health for some reason. Some lore implications made him have less than a full health bar. But you'll fight a few of these throughout the game of varying difficulties, but this one, he's simple. We're just going to abuse him and get the Crimson Talisman, which will allow us to regenerate health upon a critical attack. So backstabs and ripostes will be able to regenerate health. And of course they're stackable. These items are stackable, which is always a good thing. And we'll get our first death root, which we'll need some of those to give to an NPC. But as you can see, we're just going to do unsheath, wait for him to close in, and just keep doing unsheath. He won't last long. Trivial. The Assassin's Crimson Dagger. Now this talisman, like I said, you'll get health regen upon any kind of critical attack. And we'll get the death root. Before we go to different continents, we definitely need to make sure that we talk to this next NPC. He's vital. He's vital for us. We need to talk to him. His name is Ironfist Alexander. He's basically a giant pot. And we need to talk to him and get him out of trouble here. He's stuck in a hole, and we want to get him out so we can continue his quest line, which will be extremely beneficial to us. There's a Grace down here, but we don't really need to hit it. We're just going to go up to him right away and help him out.
Can you hear me? Help me. I'm stuck.
Talk to him initially, and you'll need to get behind him and hit him with some strong attacks. Usually takes about 3 of them, depending on your weapon, but for our katana it will take 3 hits. 3 charged attacks. Once we free him, we'll get the Triumphant Delight Gesture, which is, again, another missable thing, and we'll get some Exalted Flesh. Exalted Flesh is pretty overpowered, and that's why you don't get a lot of them. There are ways to craft them, but there's a very rare flower that you'll need, and there's only a finite amount in the world. You can farm them later, but when I say later, I mean the mountaintops of the giants, which we are going to go to, but it's going to be a while. Make sure you exhaust all his dialogue, and you can see I'm taking away the markers as I do my certain tasks. There's a lance weapon right here, but I'm not going to go to it right now. I changed my mind. I'm going to go to get the next... Let's see, I'm going to take this off here. I'm going to get the next talisman, which is the Lance Talisman. This increases your attack power when you're on horseback. This will be used for the mountaintops of the giants boss fight when we fight the fire giant, because it gives us 15% extra damage when fighting on horseback. Now, we do want to make sure we take our time to kill these demi-humans, because they have a chance to drop falchions. We want to collect as many falchions as we can, because we can put Ashes of War on them and use them as special utility, effects. Especially the Gravitas Ash of War, and we always just want to have it available. But here's your Lance Talisman, and we're going to go ahead and kill a golem here. We're going to go ahead and put our talisman on for our horseback extra damage here, and we're going to fight this guy now. These enemies are weak to blunt damage, but we do not currently have a blunt weapon. We will shortly. Well, they're called strike weapons, actually. And our fist weapon, when we get it, will be much more effective against these kind of enemies than our katana. But when you do down one, you want to make sure you get to their weak spot as fast as possible, which is in their chest, and do a quick riposte. And they'll do down pretty quick. You'll get about 1,000 runes or so. Pretty nice. Now, our next destination is the Strength Knot tier, which is pretty close by. We put a marker on it. The Strength Knot tier will be used in our physics flask. We do not have it yet, but we can put certain things. There's 2 crystal tiers you can put in each flask, and you'll get certain buffs for a duration of time. Very effective for boss fights. Some people call it easy mode, but you know what? I don't care. They're very useful, very effective. And so this is our first tier we're going to get, the Strength Knot tier. Guarded by this giant, but we don't have to fight him. We're just going to go past him. We won't get the physics flask in this episode, but we will get it in the next episode. I'm trying to make these episodes about an hour each, because this is such a huge game, guys. It's going to take nearly 100 videos to get through this. So, yeah, an hour each minimum. Now we're going to make our way to Roderika, a very important NPC. Extremely important, actually. Probably, I would say the most important NPC for what we're going to do shortly for getting into the in-game bosses. We need to make sure we progress our quest line until she can get into Round Table Hold. That way we can get her to become a spirit tuner. We desperately need this to happen. So do not attack her whatever you do. Now we'll get a stone sword key here. We're going to need 3 of them immediately. We're going to need 3 of them to do what we need to do shortly. But exhaust all of her dialogue, and you'll get the sitting sideways gesture, in addition to the jellyfish spirit ashes, which we are going to use for a specific boss fight, which will make it very easy to kill the boss. But we won't do that in this episode. Once you have exhausted all of Roderika's dialogue, we're going to make our way over to get our first golden seed, which we can use to increase our flask count. But in here in this field are 3 smithing stones, which we want to get as well. And over here, we're going to put a marker because that's going to be our next talisman we get. And over there in the woods is some spirit ashes and another smithing stone. And up here on this little stone is another gesture. We're just kind of making our way around a little trip around Limgrave here. It's very simple, but we do want to make sure we get some certain things that are missable. And we've already done a few of them. But here's your first golden seed, and then we're going to go up here and get our 3 smithing stones. Now, even though we've got the Bone Peddler's ball bearing, which means we can buy thin bones now, and hefty bones, if you don't want to spend money on bones, you can go over here, and this is a great farm for killing wildlife. But you have to be wary of the horned livestock, because they will charge you and attack you and distract you from other enemies, and you can be surprised. But look at how much you can get here, that you could just spend a lot of time in this field and get tons of bones. To me, this is the best farm in the game for killing the livestock to get the bones. This is definitely probably the best. At least early on it is. But we're going to make our way over here to get our talisman. If you're low on health and you don't want to go back to a grace, there is a scarab here on the wall, but we don't need it. We're just coming over here to get a herba. That is used in medicine crafting items there. Now we don't want to mess with that guy yet. He's on patrol, but we want to snipe this guy on the left. One fire arrow will take him out, and we're going to do the same thing on the right. Because what the game wants you to do is just go in there and get attacked by all 3 enemies, and we're smarter than that, so yeah. We're going to take them both out and make our life much easier. Now we just got the one enemy to deal with. And we can just backstab him, although I screwed it up somehow. I went into the backstabbing animation, and he turns around for some reason. I don't know exactly what happened here. But you can just wait for him to turn around, just wait here. And just try not to screw up like I did. I came up behind him, and I went into the animation, as you can see, and he just, he wasn't having it, I guess. But just do a unsheath or get behind him, and he'll go down easily. And we can do a jump attack. Jump attacks actually in this game are very useful. And there's a talisman you can get in Stormhill Castle that will increase your damage by 10%, which is very nice. Now here is your arrows Reach Talisman. This will actually work on crossbows, which is what we're going to be using instead of bows. The only reason we got a bow right now and we're using it is because it's all we have. We will be using crossbows as our main source of ranged attacks. Unless we're hunting birds. That's going to be one thing we do hunt birds with. But our whip does a good job as well. Now, we're going to come up here. And we're going to get our gesture. I believe it's the crossed legs gesture. And there is a golem here you can wake up and fight. But I don't recommend doing it at night, because you have all these bats, and you'll see just how deadly these things are very shortly, because I will die, and I'm not going to edit it out either, because I want to use these deaths as a learning experience for you guys. Do not take anything lightly in this game, and don't think you're ever safe, because you're not. But here you get your cross legs gesture. Now we're going to head into the woods to get another smithing stone and another set of ashes that are guarded by some jellyfish and some magic grease. But right here is in the back of the woods, there is our smithing stone. This set of spirit ashes, the Godric Soldier Spirit Ashes, very, very good early game ash. In fact, they're better than the dogs in my opinion, the wolves, because they're tankier and one has a ranged attack and they can split aggro. It's very good, and I recommend getting it. In fact, we're going to switch to them instead of using the wolves once we start using them. But not right now. Not in this episode. You want to stick to the left after getting the smithing stone because that's where our ashes are and our grease. But you will have to go through some aggroed jellyfish. If they're red, you know they're hostile already. The other ones are passive until you attack them. But right here, you can get your spirit ashes. But if you want the the magic grease, you're going to have to go through here. And they can poison you. That's their main attack, is poison. Now this next area, we're going to make a mistake. And this death I'm going to leave it in because, like I said, we want to treat our deaths as learning experiences. So what I did here was I underestimated the bats. These bats are very deadly, guys. They will kill you in one hit. They can actually grasp onto you and kill you in one grab. So yeah, don't take them lightly. But I tried to fight this golem and I thought to myself, no, we're just going to go ahead and leave. And I was going to go loot this graveyard, which has golden runes in them. Anytime you see a grave site, you want to loot them for the runes. And I just didn't think there were any bats around, and boy did I find out that I was wrong. But right here, you just want to go over here until you find the grave site. But at night, it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous to fight things at night because, like I say, the bats, they're very annoying enemies, and we don't have our whip or our Ash of War that's going to trivialize them. So we're kind of helpless with them at the moment. We can do like jump attacks and things, but they're very annoying enemies. And as you can see here, there's these exploding, look, I don't know what they're called, but they'll drop these rune fragments that you can use to craft things, rainbow stones and such. But yeah, as you can see, I'm going to die here, and it's going to come out of nowhere. You're never going to see it coming. I was just trying to loot the area, and you see this guy is distracting me. These livestock with the horns, like I said, they will distract you, and you can get overwhelmed by enemies. And here we go. Where did that come from? I never saw that coming, guys. Never could have seen it coming. So yeah, let's treat that as a learning experience. And when you die, you'll definitely want to get back to your runes. Especially I had a couple thousand or more. I had like 5 or I don't know how many I had, but I had quite a few. So we want to get back to them as soon as possible. But it's best to just put a marker on your rune drop because it is marked on the map. And now that it's at the daytime, we don't have to worry about the bats. I'm not even sure if those bats followed me all the way from where the giant was, the giant golem. I could be wrong, but I'm not sure. They absolutely came out of nowhere, as you can see. I had a lot of trouble picking up this rune for some reason, and it's only a measly 200. But we want to make sure we loot all this graveyard here. Anytime you see a gravesite, loot everything you got in there. Free runes are the best. And sometimes you'll find cookbooks and other things, but in this one in particular, you just have the runes and the fragments that these enemies will drop once they explode. But our next objective, once we finish looting this graveyard, is to begin a few NPC quests. Yoria and Patches. Both are critical, so we want to make sure we start them now. Patches especially, because he's a merchant that's going to sell us good things that we need, and he's going to give us one of our whips later on, so we cannot kill him. As much as we'd like to, I've never killed Patches in any of the Souls games, and I still won't kill him. He's just too useful. Now you can see there's a gray area there. We don't have the map fragment just yet for that area. We will shortly. But first we're going to go meet Patches. But before we can meet Patches, we have to get invaded by an NPC, which will give us one of the best daggers in the game, which we are not going to use. It's an overpowered dagger, guys. This thing will carry you through the game. You don't even need anything else. It's called the Reduvia. This thing is absolutely overpowered. You could just trivialize everything that bleeds with this thing. I was shocked at how good it was. And so I'm not going to use it in this walkthrough, but it's here if you want it. it scales off of arcane, and it does this attack that does massive amounts of bleed damage, and it's just very good, guys. If you're struggling with this game and you want to bleed somebody out, don't feel bad about using the Reduvia. You can power stance it with other things. It's just absolutely overpowered. Surprised that you can get nerfed. But right here, you'll get invaded. Once you get off your horse, you'll know he's coming. Now, the good thing about this NPC invasion is you'll get assistance from another NPC called Uriah, which we will start his quest line very shortly as well. He basically hunts these bloody fingers, and this is one of the members. Now, he's got the Reduvia. He will be using it against us, but we know how to dodge it, so it's pretty telegraphed, but just make sure you use Unsheath. See, he's using it right there. We can just dodge, roll out of the way. But he will heal one time, and that's it. You can either side strafe or just dodge roll through the Reduvia's attacks. It's very simple, guys. It's not hard to avoid. Now he's going to heal. We're going to heal our focus points here, so we can do more unsheaths. You can still do your skill even if you run out of focus points. It just won't be nearly as potent, and some attacks won't even work. As you see, Uriah has already came to our rescue, but we've already finished him off. And there is the Reduvia. Now, before we go meet Patches, let's go ahead and unlock another catacomb. We're not going to do the catacomb. We just want to unlock the Grace, and we're going to talk to Uriah, who's further down the ravine here. And the reason we want to unlock the Grace is it's a good mushroom farm, because there's several mushrooms that you can get very quickly, and then just go right back to the Grace and just get more mushrooms. So early on, this is a pretty good farm for the mushrooms. There is one later on, which there's one mushroom right next to a Grace, which you want to do it that way, you can, but I prefer this way. Exhaust all of Uriah's dialogue. He'll mention a dragon, and for you to not venture into Azula Lake, but we are obviously going to do that later. Dragons aren't that hard to kill in this game, in my opinion. We can trivialize them later. But yeah, see, there's several mushrooms here. You can keep going up and down this path to get them and just rinse and repeat. But we're going to unlock this catacomb. Like I said, we're not going to do it yet. We're just unlocking the Grace. We're going to sit at the Grace, and we'll respawn the mushrooms on our way to Murkwater Cave, which is where Patches is. In addition to Patches being in this cave, we have some bandits. Now, these bandits carry an armor set that we want. It's kind of like an alternate uniform for us, what we're going to have, or the top part anyway. It's just an alternate. I've always had alternate uniforms, not the actual one I want, but it's like an alternate one, and this is one that I like to use. And luckily for us, it did drop on our first attempt, so it's not a really hard drop to get. They drop them pretty frequently. Just get all these mushrooms on our way to the cave. But there's like a trap at the beginning of this cave. These bells that will alarm all the enemies at once. But we're not going to hit those bells because we don't want to get ambushed. But there's several bandits in this area, and one of them will throw a poison pot at you that will cause an acute amount of poison buildup. It doesn't last very long though, but you have the long lasting and the short version. The short version is more deadly, but doesn't last as long. Right here, you just want to make sure you don't hit the bells. You get your torch out to see where the bells are. There are two bandits in this opening area here. But there's the bell trap right there. Kind of looks like a landmine, like a trip wire type thing. Just don't touch it. We can snipe this guy if we want. Now in here, there's one guy that's just kind of standing around. You see we got the highway cloth armor already, and we're going to go ahead and put it on. It's our alternate version of our indie outfit here. Now, you can just kind of lock onto him in the dark and then just snipe him. Don't get too close to. And there's another one that will throw a pot. And we're going to go ahead and craft our first couple of pots here, our fire pots. Because there's some explosive barrels next to these guys that are just sitting there, and we can just explode them with a couple of throws here. But yeah, this guy will throw a pot. You can see right there. Nothing unsheathed can't help fix. Now we're going to throw our pot. We can just kind of throw it at either one of the guys. The guy that's closest to the barrel is the best. So we're just going to throw it here. It'll take him out and his friend, and then just got one more. 2 is all you need. And this chest will contain some mushrooms. Now on to patches. Now I'm going to die again. I'm going to do it on purpose because I want to show you guys another lesson here. When you first encounter patches, he's quite aggressive and he's got a shield, but he's very easy to trivialize. Just use unsheath, but if you try to get behind him and backstab him, it's not the easiest thing to do unless he's doing his, I don't know what it is. It's some kind of acid blow thing. I'm not even sure what it does because weapon durability doesn't exist in this game. But as soon as you loot the chest, he will come up from above. We're going to have quite the back and forth with patches because he gives us multiple gestures that we have to get. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and die here by trying to get behind him. You can see he's got good range on his spear. But if you try to get behind him, you can see he's weak to the unsheath, but see, right here is when you want to try to get behind him. But he gets us here. But we'll treat this as another learning experience. We'll absolutely wreck him in the next encounter. Once you respawn, just run. You don't have to fight the bandits this time. We got our cloth armor we wanted anyway. So, we don't want the pants because we're not going to use those anyway. We want the Caden trousers for the pants. But he'll already be hostile now. So, just get ready. Unsheath for the win here. It's just too easy. After half health, he will beg for forgiveness. Or for mercy. Make sure to get your runes. And now, once he puts his shield on top of his head, just don't attack him anymore. You'll get the grovel for mercy gesture. And a golden rune. And just exhaust his dialogue here. He'll set up shop after you come back. We have to go all the way back to the beginning and come all the way back in here for some reason. And he'll have his shop set up. He's got some very good items for sale, guys. We've got to get some of them. He's got the recipe for gold pickle fowlfoot, which we really want that. And we want the Margot's shackle, which will come in handy for 2 boss fights in particular. Yeah, we're just going to run past these guys. We don't need to fight them anymore. They will not follow you into Patch's boss room. First thing you want to buy is the recipe for the gold pickle fowlfoot, and we're going to buy all the gold pickle fowlfoots he's got already. And then we need Margot's shackle, but we're going to use some runes to buy it. We've been picking up quite a few. So we're going to use it to buy it. We definitely want this. It comes in handy in more than just boss fights. If you use it in a dungeon, it will show all the illusionary walls in the entire dungeon. So you want to open up this chest. It will be a transporter trap. Patches will send you to Mistwood. Now, we're going to be surrounded by rune bears. Now, these enemies are extremely dangerous, guys. Do not fight them. Even with a maxed out build, I don't like fighting these things. They are extremely overpowered and can one-shot, two-shot you. It's just not worth fighting them. We're going to stay stealthy, and we're going to get our map fragment right here. But right next to the bear, unfortunately, is a cookbook we want, and we'll get that as well. But stay crouched. Do not alert them. Keep a low profile right here. He's preoccupied with sharpening his claws on that tree there. He pretty much won't notice you, but don't go running about. We're going to place a marker here in the ruins. There's an NPC there, and over here in the south, we have a boss fight we want to... Well, it's not really a boss fight. It's just an enemy we want to kill for an Ash of War, and there's also a nice farm down here for some blood roses. Very important area down there. But yeah, let's go ahead and get our cookbook. Just keep a low profile, get us barely enough to get to it, and let's get out of here. You'll also pick up some excrement here if you want. That's going to be used for certain crafting items as well. But our next objective is to get the Ash of War ground stomp. Very good Ash of War. And we're going to get our crystal tears. There's 2 crystal tears up here we want to get. But here's some demi-humans. Always fight them when you get a chance because they might drop a falchion. And I do get one pretty soon. I don't think it's here, but we are going to get one in this episode. The more falchions we get, the better. They'll be used for special situations. Get back on the main road and look for a statue of Marika. Once you see the statue, you're very close to the Ash of War. I use this as a nice reference point right here. Once you see this statue, we'll zoom in on it. This statue right here, you know you're extremely close. Do a 180 and the scarab, you can literally see him already. You just sneak up on him and get the Ash of War ground stomp. One of the best Ashes of War in the game, to be honest. Ground slam. You continue up the hill and we'll get our tears here. The spiked tear and the green spill crystal tear. And we're also going to get some golden sunflowers. Tarnished golden sunflowers are used for holy pots, which we are going to need. So we're going to pick up quite a few of these. There's a better farm later on, but for just the tarnished flowers, this is one of the better farms. Now we need to get to a site of grace, which we're going to go ahead and go down to the south and unlock that grace because it's going to be used quite a bit for farming. But along the way, we're going to meet our merchant fellow friend, and we're going to get another cookbook. This cookbook will allow us to craft exalted flesh, but like I said before, exalted flesh will be finite because the flour that's used for the ingredient is finite. You can't get them all throughout the world. They don't respawn. There are quite a few of them, but you can't farm them until you get to the mountaintops of the giants, and even still you have to fight a giant enemy to get them. But right here we're going to sneak around and get this smithing stone 2, which now we'll be able to get our weapon to +4. We haven't upgraded yet, though. As long as you do not loot the Trina's lilies in this area, which we do want to get, those are extremely important as well, then the bear will not wake up. Just stay crouched, and we'll be able to sneak into this underground area to get our axe talisman. This talisman is very useful. It boosts your charge attacks. And when we get our whip, our charge attack is going to be our primary attack. So this is going to be combined with a whip. The Axe Talisman. We'll have certain combat setups, but that's going to be our basic one. We're going to go ahead and load it up. But yeah, just stay crouched. Don't alert the rune bear. The rune bear is not to be messed with. You can actually jump and still not alert him. Just do not pick any Trina's lilies, because for some reason, that's what wakes him up. Now to the next site of grace here. This is the Fort Height site of grace. We'll be using this, like I said, to farm for blood roses early on. Once we get to Liurnia of the Lakes, we'll have a much better farm for roses. But right now, this is all we got. But right here, you'll see this little shiny message, and that's where the merchant is. But right here, we're just killing all these guys because we want to get a falchion, hopefully. And I do believe one drops for me here. Like I said, there's a lot of areas to farm for these guys. But this is just one of them. Actually, once you clear out Fort Height, they'll come in there and set up residence. You can actually do that as a farm if you'd like. And there we got the falchion, so we got the drop. We'll be using that in the next episode probably. We're going to outfit it with the Gravitas Ash of War, which will trivialize flying enemies. But here is our friend, the merchant. We want the crafting recipe for exalted flesh. That's all we really want. He sells some smithing stone, but we don't really need it. Now we're going to go unlock this Grace and make our way back to Kali. And we'll tell him about the howling that we heard in Mistwood, and he will give us the fingersnap gesture, which will allow us to meet a new NPC. But we'll do that in the next episode. But yeah, this is an important Grace, guys. I can't stress it enough. You definitely want to unlock this Grace. We'll be coming back here shortly to farm for blood roses. We haven't done it yet, but we do need to increase our flask count because we had the golden seed. Now we're just going to go back to Kali and tell him about the howling that we heard. He'll give us the fingersnap gesture. We'll do that in the next episode, guys. That will wrap it up for episode number 1 of many. I hope you guys enjoyed. See you in the next one.